Hello everyone, and hope you are doing really well. On the screen right now you are looking at the game Land of the Vikings, and this game is in early access, and I was super excited about this Viking city builder game. I got so excited that I created a custom intro as well, just so that we can play this game like a Viking, and I was fully prepared to create a series on this game. However, after spending a few hours in terms of preparation and knowing the game mechanics, I feel there's a lot to be done in this game before we can think about playing this one. The game is in early access, so I understand some of the people would say that what did you expect? It's an early access, it is supposed to have bugs in it. And I respect that, and I want to address this part properly as well because I am a huge subscriber of early access games. So I have subscribed to Stranded Alien Dawn, I'm playing games like Farthest Frontier, so it's not as if this is my first interaction with an early access game. But the challenges in this game are far more severe as compared to those games, and it probably depends on the timing of its release. So if you look at this release version of this game, it is 0.0.7. Ignore everything after that. So this is a semantic, this is a way by which we represent the release versions, where the first letter, the first number before the first dot is a major release. After that you have the minor release, and then you have your patches, which basically include your bugs and all the other things. So this is the latest version of this game, and this game has currently released without any minor release or without any major release. Since you guys don't know me yet, I am an architect in IT space, so I know about these semantics, these nomenclatures, and I can understand when the game has been, or the software has been developed by an experienced team versus a team which is kind of learning on the job. It's not bad or good thing, it's just that we can evaluate certain things based on that categorization. So now coming back to this release version, this game has had only 7 patches, which means that it has not had any minor release to it till now. If you look at games like Stranded Alien Dawn or Farthest Frontier, they already had multiple minor releases before they were brought in front of users like us for early access. So this game is definitely far too early in its life cycle to be brought for early access. As I said, nothing is wrong, there's no rule against it. However, there's a pros and cons about it. When you bring a game a bit too early, then you have a risk of reputation loss, which means if the users don't find your game interesting or they feel that it is broken a bit too much, then you will lose that customer base, and you will lose the customer base very early on. So that's the risk which probably the publishers and developers of this game understood and they wanted to go ahead with. I'm not making an opinion here, and I'm not suggesting you to think one way or the other. I'm just stating the pros and cons around releasing too early, or sometimes there's a problem with releasing too late as well. So this is on the 7th patch right now, which means that there will be more problems as compared to the other games like Stranded Alien Dawn and Farthest Frontier as well. Some of the challenges which you can see with such an early release, you can literally see them right away. So for example, when you start a game, let's say it is a clean map, a new map, what you do is you start to interact with the map. You start to go around the places, try to see what are different things, where they are, and just try to explore and learn the map a bit. Let's say I'm here. This is the first time I'm exploring the map, and I got lost. I didn't know whether I was going left, right, east, west, north, south. I don't know where my initial camp was. So what we do now is that we press a shortcut key, which takes us to the center of our camp. This game does not even have a shortcut key for that. And this is where I started to think, when was the last time I played a game where there was no shortcut key? So if I take you to the screen, settings and input, so these are the only keys which you have, and they are basically just managing your movements and left and right, mouse buttons, like the minimalistic buttons which you need to have so that you can construct something, move something, or shift something, or move the camera. There's no shortcut key as such in this game yet. So that was a big bummer. Now your speed control, even that is bugged. And that's where, you start to think what's happening, because these are the things which you do on a day-to-day basis or very regularly in the game. So for example, I usually go with 3x speed. So if I click on 3x, let's say through shortcut on my keyboard, which is 3, and then I press space to pause it. First of all, it's not taking it because I have not clicked anywhere other than this space. So I have to click in the open world first, something left click, right click, whatever. And then when I press the space bar, it pauses it, which is fantastic. Yeah, this is how it should be. Now, let's say I have to build a house and I did that, and now I want to move ahead again. I press the space bar again, and now it is going to 4x. So a simple thing like pausing and going back to the previous speed itself is not working fine. It's working with all the other speeds like 2x, 1x and everything, but it's definitely not working with 3x. And if you have played this game, you know that this game goes sluggish. It's super slow. So literally there are times when I'm just running through it without doing anything. I'm just waiting for an alert to pop up or someone to join in or something to happen so that I can do some action. So it kind of becomes important that these small things are at least taken care of. It's not as if we are reinventing the wheel. It just happens in every other game. So there is no reason to have these things not there. Shortcut keys, hotkeys, and simple like the movement of or the speed control. When that is not working, it's a big red flag for me. So the next thing would be when we start the game, this area is all filled with wood like trees and stones, and you want to clean them up quickly. Yeah. And while cleaning them up, you would want to set certain priorities. For example, I want to build this road and there's a stone in here which I want to clean up faster than the other stones which are in this area. There is no way by which you can have that individualistic control. For example, if I can show this to you. For example, if I have these 3 trees, okay? Just for the sake of examples. First of all, I can't interact with these trees in the open world. I have to take this menu of select trees to cut, and this menu has no shortcut again, so you have to keep clicking. So let's say I select these 3 to cut. Now, if I want this tree to be cut before these 2, there's no way I can do that. And although it looks small as of now, but when you are building up the base and you think time is of essence, you really need that. Assume that there's a huge block of rock over here and you need to build a house over here. There's no way by which you can control that. There's only one priority, which is under this longhouse, where you can say whether cutting trees take priority over stone mining or not. And that's pretty much it. That's the only priority which I have seen in terms of managing these resources or removal of these resources. Just while we are at it, this is the most beautiful part of this game. The UI, the UX, it's just so beautiful. It's literally like the best wallpaper you can have. Moving ahead. Now, let's say you are constructing a base, and it's a very common thing. Again, everything which I will say here are the things which we do day in, day out in every city builder game. Okay, let's say you want to construct this house, and for some reason you have placed it you have misplaced it, or it's not the thing which you want to build right now. So you can pause it, right? Like pretty simple. Don't do anything. However, what you will see is, despite of pausing, the first 2 stages of the construction will be done, and that is very annoying because it means that you can't do a layout of the buildings because it will consume the material. So now the next thing would be the resource management and how it is done in the game. I feel that it's a huge cognitive load on us. For example, this screen here where we list the jobs and the number of people who are doing the job. For example, builders. If I set this number as 10, what it should mean is that this number will remain 10 till I come and change this manually. However, that doesn't happen in the game. As soon as one of the builder dies, this number will reduce to 9. And then I have to come here and press this right arrow again so that the number can become 10. And it becomes such an exercise that I have to pin this screen and keep it open at all time just so that I know I have the right number of builders and I have the right number of farmers and all the other things. Huge cognitive load. This should be managed inside the game. It is managed in all the games we have played. including the early access games we are playing right now. So I suppose this will be something which will be implemented by the developers. I don't know when, but whenever it is, it will definitely help the users a lot. The second thing about resource management is that they forgot to take care of the single responsibility principle. So if you see the builders, they are transporting materials as well as building the sites. It's the same with, let's say, carpenter. It says that he will produce timber from logs, but it also has to go and pick up timber from the warehouse or from the storage. So ideally, laborers should be the one who should be transporting all the goods. Builders, carpenters, miners, they should just be doing their job. And it's currently, I know that at least couple of buildings, they don't follow the single responsibility principle, and it would be good if that segregation can happen so that we know exactly how many laborers are there who are moving things from one place to another, and then the builders are being most effective by just building it, the miners are most effective by just mining it, and henceforth. The third thing, and one of the most difficult piece to deal with, is the auto assignment of worker. So for example, if I have this tailoring shop and one of this and I have assigned these two people to work in this tailoring shop, and one of this person dies, then first of all, this game doesn't give me any indication that we are running a person short. That's the number one thing. Number two, I have to come here and click this auto assign button so that this can be filled in, so that this position can be filled in. This is another cognitive load because I just don't know right now which all buildings have how many workers, whether they are working full capacity, half capacity, we just don't know. And it's a very simple thing which can be, if brought in, will be very effective for resource management perspective. But right now it is not there. Even this auto assign button, it gets activated after a lot of researches on this tree of life. It's not like the first 2 or 5 research. It's somewhere around here, I think, if I'm not wrong. I think it gets activated by this one, this Eternal Hammerer and Weaver. I think it gets activated with this research. So it takes quite a long time before you even are entitled for this auto assign button. And without that, what you have to keep doing is just click on this plus button, sort by what is the skill set which is required, see the distance, and then select the person. Looks small, but when you have too many buildings, for example, so many production houses, then it is no fun. And again, it stops us from scale. For example, if you have 1,000 resources running right now, how will you manage it? It looks fun when you are really small village and you have a count of, like, let's say 200 people, you are doing well. But let's say you have 2,000 people and then you have so many shops and everything. You don't want that. It's not a scalable kind of feature, I would say. The next one on the resource management thing is, I just don't know how many workers are enough for each job. For example, to run the market, do we need all 4 people at all time? Can I be done with just 1 person in there, 2 person in there? I just don't know. The game is giving us no way for us to know how effective this market is going. There are no graphs, there are no numbers, nothing. The only number we have is like what is the amount of raw materials we have here to sell, and I just don't know what to make out of it. It should be a lot predictive with the help of graphs and everything. Some numbers in here would really help. The next one would be farms. So I'm going in the order in which we get to do things in the game. So first we settle down and everything. So we have talked about those 2 things. Now the third thing is when you come to the farming level, when you have to make a farm and start farming. The first thing which will irritate you to the core is, you take this, let's say you are trying to construct a field, and you click here, you go here, and as soon as this game identifies that there is something, some pod in the area, it will not allow you to construct this farm. So what you have to do is, you have to wait for this to be cleaned. So now these were small bushes, so they were clean, but imagine if there's a tree over here. So the game doesn't have a smarts to say, okay, I want to construct farm in this area, let's clean it up. If it has stone, clean up the stone. If it has wood, clean up the wood. Whatever it is, just clean it up and make it ready for farming. But that will not happen. You'll have to give an instruction And as I told you, there's no way by which you can prioritize cutting off whatever from this area. So yeah, you just have to wait. You just have to wait for that to be cleaned up, and then you come back here and you plant your field. Only if it takes the click the first time. So here you are. This is how you construct the field. Now once you construct the field, the the automatic inclination is to click this button. But if you click this button, nothing will happen. You have to click anywhere else in the farm other than this button for the pop-up to display. And this pop-up will say what kind of field do you want it to be. And let's say you say wheat. And you say, oh wow, this game has automatic field plant, automatic field harvest. So you click these two buttons and you're like, yeah, I'm done. Fantastic. But then you realize that the planting has not started. As of now, it is frustrating, and these are very small things for developers to fix, and I hope they will fix it. So you go here, you select wheat, you have to click on this plant. Don't forget to click this additional button, another cognitive load, which should be taken care by automation. As simple as that. So now, okay, you have your farming area done, you have clicked and you have planted it, and then after that everything is fine as long as your number of farmers are not decreasing by itself. So make sure that we have to keep looking here to make sure that we have enough number of farmers at all time. So yeah, that's just a bit too repetitive and not fun, to be honest, not fun. So after farming, you will get a notification in the life cycle of this game to go ahead with some fishing and docks stuff. Now one of the strange thing which you will find is you get the option to construct this fishing hut even before the shipyard and trade docks are activated. And you'll be happy, you'll be like, yeah, we want to have fishes as part of our food. So we'll construct this this fishing hut for your realization that you can't do fishing till you have unlocked this shipyard. And the shipyard is not the first or the second or the third or the fourth research. It literally comes up very late in the game. I think it will be, let's see, yeah, here. It is the fourth one. So you have to go through all these researches just so that you can construct your first fishing boat. However, you can construct this building and just look after it. You can't do anything. What I'm trying to say is the sequencing of some of these things is weird. For example, let's come to this one, the trade dock. So you will go to that research and you will unlock the trade dock. I think it is here. Yeah, you unlock the trade dock. Yeah. Now you come back to the game, you construct this thing, and then you are like, okay, now I want some ships. But those ships which are used at trading dock, they are unlocked couple of steps after you unlock this trading dock. So this is where you get your first ship. So you unlock your trading dock here, then you do this research, and then you do this research, and then you unlock your ship by which you can do trading. Ideally, if I have this building, every resource which I can adjust according to this building should be available along with it. I should not be doing like, first, okay, let's create a dock, now wait for a couple of researches, now we have the ship, now let's do the trading. That's not how I feel it should work. It's very counterintuitive. Another thing, some of the things which are reported as bugs, I don't feel the developers are doing a good job in fixing it from long-term perspective. Most of these things are done as kind of a band-aid solution. For example, the repairing of the ships. So there was no automated repairing of the ships before this last release. Now we have this checkbox which you have to remember to tick, otherwise none of your ships will be repaired automatically. So that's number one, a cognitive load. Remember to check this box. Second thing is, let's say there are 4 fishing boats and all of them require a repair. So they will automatically be pulled by the shipyard and they will be repaired. However, they will not be returned back to the fishing hut automatically. So they will be gone from your fishing hut, and if you don't realize that, you will realize it when you will run short of food and you will see that you have no ship to serve for your villagers, and suddenly they're hungry and your meal count is very low. And then you come in here and you see, oh, where are my ships? And then you start to allocate them one by one. So again, like an automation which must be there, and a fix which is very half-hearted fix, more like a band-aid fix rather than, you know, making it a end-to-end feature kind of a fix. And secondly, these kind of checkboxes if there's a functionality like repair ship automatically, it shouldn't be a checkbox. It should just be enabled either by research or just should be enabled as part of this building. As simple as that. This is what this building is for. This is why you have these people sitting in this building when they have nothing else to do, so that they can repair the ships or the boats. So yeah, just feels like there is an inexperience in the designing side of the game, and it just shows. It just shows a bit. And it's very, I don't want to be negative, but it's just very difficult to play the game with such nuances. Okay, now we have done the docks and the fishing. Another thing in the docks is that when you have these many boats, let's say these are the boats which you send for expeditions or for trading, these boats have the same name. So when you send a trade ship, you will get a list where Nar and Nar. So there's like not even Nar 1, Nar 2. You just don't know which ship you are selecting. Yeah, very simple thing, but yeah, it should be taken care of. It's again not end to end. It's like a thing which is just there sitting by itself. I don't know, like it feels like, sometimes feels like that we are doing the first level of testing. It's not a user testing. It's like a first level of software testing which we are doing right now, which is where I feel the early access tag is not justified. The early access tag is justified when you do user testing and not these basic testing. But anyways, I'm not blaming anyone. I'm just saying that being in software industry, I know that sometimes we release softwares a bit too early and there are repercussions which can happen as well. Anyways, moving forward, these are all the things I wanted to cover from docking and fishing perspective. There are few UI details which should be there, must be there kind of. For example, a huge part of this game is the number of people who are homeless. So you see this icon, which is fantastic. It's a good indicator that, you know, you have some homeless people in here. But how many? There's no way to determine how many homeless people you have in your camp right now. All you can do is just keep constructing homes without knowing how many homes you need. So for these 2 people, do I need 1 home, 2 homes? I just don't know. There's no way for me to determine. So what I do is I just blindly go and construct a house. And it should not be a blind thing. This is a resource management game. We should be managing this properly. I feel that. Second thing is, how are we doing with resources as your population grows? For example, I don't know what is the production of this cattle ranch. How many animals are getting slaughtered, at what duration, and what is the amount of meat and skin we are getting from them. There's no way to determine that. If you come here, there is no way to determine how much meal is getting consumed every day and how much are we producing. So very basic detail which you need for maintaining a society, those details are missing. The coins, I just don't know how many are we making every day, what is coming from trade. There's no way to get a number around this one. Same thing with all the other resources. There is just no graph or nothing by which you can see whether you are able to produce as much as you need, which is a deal breaker actually, to be honest, especially in the strategy games where you have to plan ahead. So the next thing to look at is the defense side of things. So right now it says that I have a defense of 13 and I just don't know where it's coming from. So the game has a building training camp where you can train troops. I have trained a few, but I just don't know how many troops have I trained and where are they right now? Are they still in this building? Are they roaming outside? If they're roaming outside, what are they doing? And how many of them are there? So, you know, like you're just lost. You just keep training people and you just don't know how many you have trained or how many are left. Have some of them died? I don't know. So yeah, it's just basically, you know, finger in the air kind of assumption that yes, you have some kind of defense. And this number is indicative of nothing because you can increase this number just by placing some decoration items. So this number doesn't indicate anything for me, or at least it's not a clear indicator to me that you have these many manual trained soldiers in your camp. So this game has disasters built in. For example, you can have earthquakes, you can have storms and lightning, and they will give some damage. So when the damage happens, you will see some icons by which you can repair or reconstruct the building. However, there's no notification on the screen to tell us how many of these things or what was the damage overall. So for example, if I have my camp distributed across multiple places, let's say 1, 2, and let's say 2 or 3 more places, I will have to manually go and visit those places and ensure that I click that button, because there's no other way by which this game can tell us that what was the damage done and if there are still some properties which are in damaged condition and we need to take care of them. So just, small things, but they keep building up and they make the experience a bit worse. The thing which makes the experience really good is this UI which you are seeing right now. It's so beautiful. I think this is what is bringing a lot of people to this game, and it's flawless. It's beautiful, amazingly beautiful. No two ways about it. But anyways, it can only go as far as a game engine. So we have talked about a lot of issues. There are other things which I have not touched upon. For example, the game is very slow in nature. I just press this 3x and just sit there for quite a while without doing anything. There are pop-ups which will keep coming up to do this, to do that, or there's some events which will keep popping up, but those events become very repetitive and boring because you know exactly what will happen, and there's not a good mix between the events. So yeah, it becomes like a bit boring as to what you have to do next. You just have to wait for this your fame to increase so that you have enough points in the tree of life, and then you can unlock a few buildings. When you unlock some buildings, then it becomes interesting. You go and place those buildings, you hire some workers, blah blah blah. But again you are waiting for the fame to increase, you are waiting for these points to increase, and as you go further up in the chain, the number of points required to unlock those researches, it's pretty high. So it can be a pretty wild waiting game as well. These are the main reasons because of which I feel that, number one, we shouldn't be playing this game as of now. We should wait for at least a couple of minor releases. And for me, again, I'm not trying to influence, it's totally your decision. I will wait for a major release for this game before I play it again. There's a lot to do in this game. The developers are fixing things, which is good, but at the same time the fixes are very short term. It is not long term focused fixes, and I think to clean those up, the developers will need a lot of time, and I think we should give them that time. I have invested my money, I have invested a lot of time in the game just so that we can bring something useful to you guys, but it's not worth your time, it's not worth my time as of now from my channel perspective. So I'll be keeping this in the back burner for now. So thanks a lot for tuning in, for listening to me. Do let me know what you think. If I am mistaken, if I have missed something which you feel is there, or I have misrepresented something, do please share your comments. Do let us know what you feel about the game as well. I know there have been a lot of positive feedback going around on the YouTube and everywhere. I'm very new to YouTube, so I don't know how it goes. So please be kind. I'm just trying to give my honest opinion here. It is not against anyone or any game or any publisher or any developer. It's just, when you have to spend time and money, just an opinion from my side. So thanks a lot, and hope you have a great day, and I'll come back with a new series as soon as I can. Game on, folks.